Hello everybody and welcome back to another Zwift analysis video. I've realised after doing these for a few weeks now, I'm literally just the Lanterne Rouge of Zwift, aren't I? In fact, wait there. Good day everybody and welcome back to the Lanterne Rouge channel. Hit that subscribe button. G'day. Nailed it. I can't see a thing, but I've nailed it. Anyway, as you can see, stage 2 of the Tour for All. Right? We're watching Greg Van Avermaet, one of the best one-day riders, one of the best Tour de France riders. In fact, he wore the yellow jersey at some point. Was it 2018? I don't know. Anyway, we're going to get straight into this analysis. As you can see, we're 43 minutes into the race. We're heading up the first of the 3 climbs at Richmond. I think this is Libby Hill. I want to call it Libby Hill. I think Matt Stevens calls it bloody Libby's Hill all the time, and I'm sure it's not. But as you can see, Greggy boy here. In fact, let's just pause that a second. Can we let's just go back a little bit. Let's get rid of that. I just want to pick up on something that you don't often see. See this guy here? It's bloody me. I don't know how I managed to get into this race, but there I am. Chris Pritchard. I'm even on there, look. Chris Pritchard smashing out 1.4 watts a kilo. In a professional race. That's Zwift aren't going to be happy with that. But I don't know how I managed to do that. But anyway, let's continue with this. We're going up the first of 3 climbs at Richmond. Turns out, as well, Greg Van Avermaet, not a newbie to Zwift, he's been here for quite a while. His first ever ride on Zwift was actually on Richmond. November 30th, 2015, I think it was. So he's definitely not new to it. He's only a level 16 rider, but fair play to him. He's doing some efforts on there. He's doing some training on there, and he's doing some free riding on there. Right then, pops an aero. Fair play. Don't really think he needed to. I don't know what his max heart rate is, so it's difficult to look at the heart rate and say, oh, he's full gas. But if you look at the wattage, you can see that he's definitely pressing on. Who else have you got in this group? You've got obviously Mathieu van der Poel. Now that boy. The last time he came here and raced, got his ass handed to him and he got dropped first time on this climb. But you'll see how different a race with nothing but professional riders is compared to a Zwift race with, let's call them Zwift professionals and professional riders. So they've just crested that hill there. Probably gone up in a very reasonable time, I don't know. But you can see that Van Avermaet is pretty much switched off there for a few seconds. He was down to around 2 watts a kilo. This here from Schultz, this isn't necessarily an attack. I don't think that's an attack. I think he's just carried on with his effort over the hill. One name to note, Gögel there. I think he came from the group behind. Jimmy Whelan at some point was there as well. I don't know where he's gone. Whelan's gone. As you watch this on the start, Jimmy Whelan was definitely there, but he's not now. Another name to know at the minute. Jimmy Whelan's there. He's 10 seconds behind now. I don't know what happened to him because he caught back up and then obviously he's got dropped on that climb. You've also got Michael Valgren in there as well. He's currently 12 seconds behind. Just keep an eye on that. If you know the results, you'll understand why I mentioned that. You've got Van der Poel here dropping an aero on the bottom of the climb, going into the climb a tiny bit quicker than everybody else, but they're not really maintaining that pressure. Greggy boy here obviously picked up this burrito at the top of the hill, but as everyone knows, it's the most pointless power-up in the world, and everyone's starting to press on. So, like, for instance, now, the guy in front of Van der Poel, Zukowski, has just hit his aero, so why ain't Van der Poel just holding fire on his? You've got Gögel there using the draft boost to very good use there and being able to draft past those boys and picking up Schultze and essentially bringing that group back together. So that's 2 of the 3 hills in Richmond done for the lap. Then we'll head down this hill. We'll head round the left-hander, then a bit of a right-hander, then it'll drag all the way up to the finish line. So we'll just maintain watching this at the minute. One thing to note as I take a swig of my drink. Not sponsored. One thing to note that you notice again about a professional riders race where there's nothing but professionals in there. There's a lot more freewheeling going on. You'll see a lot of those riders getting into that aero tuck as they're heading downhill. On Zwift, with Zwift pros, let's call them, There's none of that. People know that you can't afford to do that because there's various people with training difficulty at 0, so they just maintain that power and that speed. But here, I mean, a lot of people won't notice. The pros won't probably notice that their training difficulty has a setting, and 2, that it makes such a difference, but they'll probably just leave it where it is unless they've been told to specifically put it somewhere. So here we go. We're heading back up the last drag. I think there's at least 1 or 2 laps to go on this one, but it's pretty much status quo. We'll follow them up to the top of the hill here and just see what happens, just see what analysis we can make of it. I'm going to bring my circle in here because I just want to circle that man there, Greg Van Avermaet, because that's the man we're following. Plenty of ride-ons here. As you'll see from the TV footage and GCN's footage, the ride-ons aren't featured in that, or they are really small now, but it's so annoying. They need to get rid of it full stop because there's no need for it. There's no need for it. Just fill the pockets up because they're going to get plenty. But look, the riders don't need to see that while they're riding. It does start to get a little infuriating, especially if you got the sound on and you're listening to it. So we're at 5 watts a kilo, almost 6. Everyone's pretty much there or thereabouts. Lawson Craddock here, he's made his way up to this group just about. He's only 3 seconds off now with Valgren. Back after those is Saragil. I'm sorry. And Luke Durbridge. I can pronounce that. With Jimmy Whelan, who's currently in the polka dot jersey, leaders jersey for the climb. So, I mean, for me now, Van der Poel has just gone full bore 10 watts a kilo on the attack here. Is he trying to break it and go alone, or is he just trying to reduce that field, potentially get rid of Van Avermaet? But Van Avermaet, the man that he is, the professional that he is, he sees the danger and he chases that down. Boom, look at that as well. I mean, to be fair, great use of the power-up. Probably should have used it a bit earlier because now he's on a relatively shallow part of the climb. In fact, it's going to be flat in a minute. It's at 1%. And he's kind of wasted the benefit of that feather by doing that. Gurgle 2 seconds back now. Schultz just behind Greg Van Avermaet here. Van Avermaet closes that gap down, but Van der Poel is still like 6 watts a kilo. Now, to him, I'm sure that's still just nothing but warming up pace, but for me, I'd be like absolutely blowing out. And you notice that their heart rates don't fluctuate. I mean, they do a little bit, but compared to an amateur rider, that heart rate just seems to just build and just drop and build and drop within, I don't know, let's keep an eye on it, but 10 beats maybe once he's in this position. So Gurgle at the front, Schultze following. Now it's pretty much going to be status quo here. You're going to have Lawson Craddock still pressing on at 4 seconds back, 6 watts a kilo. He's going to try and close that gap down. But Greg here is riding a smart race. The best thing to do is just sit in the draft, really. I mean, he's making his way to the front now, and we're going to hang left here, and not the best place for him. But again, he's only at 230 watts, down to 300, up to 300, sorry. And then the old switcheroo will come. Lawson Craddock's caught him. Valgren's caught him. So this group has now swelled to 2, 4, 6, 7 riders. That's probably going to be it because, well, once again, the great timing system from Zwift here. There we go. Impey is 30 seconds back now with Jimmy Whelan. Luke Durbridge as well. So only a couple of riders from that other group that was behind actually made it up to this group here. So let's just fast forward it on as Greg Van Avermaet makes it to the front, and that whole thing about him and his heart rate dropping between 10 beats is utter BS from me. Look how low it's got now after that. So here we are further down the line in the race. It's the final lap. It's pretty much been status quo all the way down to this point. You can see that old Greggy boy's heart rate here. I don't want that one. I want this one. Greggy's heart rate there, 130, is barely doing anything. So at this point, the riders are relatively well rested. They're all ready for an attack. They're all ready to respond to an attack if one should go. But I just can't see one going. If this was a real Zwift race, a lot of the riders will be waiting for those hills to just absolutely annihilate one another. But that's not the case, is it here? Because that's the wrong one. I want to use this. Valgren, has taken the initiative. He's used his aero and he's gone up the road and he's just bloody left him for dead. Now, again, in an A group race on Zwift, when riders are feeling relatively fresh, there'd be 3 or 4 riders heading up the road to try and catch him, and then the rest of the group would follow suit, and before you know it, it'd be neutralized. But not here. These riders, I think these riders here are riding it like it's a road race, thinking that he's going with how many K to go? 6K to go, maybe 4K to go. He ain't gonna make it. There's a group of us here, and if we just work together, even if we press on 5% each, we should catch him. But that's not necessarily the case with a Zwift race, especially when we're going uphill, we're going down dale, and that draft will be almost nutrified. I've just invented a new word. It's called nutrified. It'll be neutralized. All right. So you're not going to get that big blob speed effect that you get from riders sitting in a draft. So pretty shrewd move. You can see that he's already got 11 seconds on these riders here. We start the third of the final climbs, or the first of the final 3 climbs. That's what I'm trying to say there. It's not the third climb, is it? It's the first climb, but the first of the 3. Anyway, Greg's on the front. The climb's not officially started yet, so we'll just wait till it does. But you can see Valgren here at 6 watts a kilo, and these boys aren't really pressing on. I think once the elevation changes and it starts going up, they are gonna. You can see a bit of an attack or a press on of power from Lawson Craddock there. Plenty of ride-ons going on there. Ooh, yay, ride on. Anyway, here's the official start of the climb. Now this says 23rd Street, but that must be the next one. That can't be. You can't get up this one in 22 seconds. It takes around about a minute or so to get up this one, bit over a minute. There we go. 1:06. Jimmy Whelan's been up here. Greg Van Avermaet came up here 1:09.9, so essentially 1 minute and 10 seconds. This part of the climb here always gets me because it's not necessarily the steepest part, but a lot of people carry a lot of speed into it along the bottom, and then they just maintain it because of 0% trainer difficulty, and then they just keep pressing on here, and you have to really gas it up here before this even goes to the right hander onto the cobbles and gets really steep. Greg's hit his power up here. I don't know if he knows that he's going to. I guess he'll know by now because he's been through it enough times to know that he's going to get a power up at the top as well. So maybe he's just hoping for either a feather or a tranny van to use in the draft. I mean, everyone wants an aero, don't they? Aero's one of the most beneficials, but if he starts getting dropped and you can use that tranny van to a good effect on the final climb, actually, a tranny van might not be a bad thing because it does last quite a long time. Valgren, 8 seconds up the road now. You've got Schultze there for Mitchelton Scott just pressing on over the top, and everyone's going to probably come back together here and maybe start pressing on and trying to chase this boy down, unless they think they're just going to catch him on the final climb. I don't really know. Lawson Craddock's now 5 seconds behind. We don't need to worry about anybody down here now. They're gone. They're not going to be part of this race. Valgren, however, 9 seconds up the road, still pushing 5 watts a kilo. Now, one thing that these riders might not have bared in mind, thought about, is lap riders. So you can see here that there's a rider between Valgren and the rest of the group. Now, if someone's not concentrating, they potentially could think that he's the rider that they're chasing here. Where is he? He's there. He's gone around there. And they could catch him and then ease up, but who knows? I don't really know. This is going to be interesting to see what they do up 23rd Street. A great springboard to launch an attack. Van der Poel again goes with that tranny van. A couple of ghosts there, so you know that there's going to be a few attacks going on here. Everyone's like full gas here. Van der Poel's using this to zero effect, other than the fact that guy's now turned up. Burrito Boy. Greg Van Avermaet, useless. But again, he's going to get another power up here, so he may as well have burnt it off because there's no point taking a burrito to the final sprint. So hopefully now these boys are all going to get a recharge on the power ups. Valgren's down to 3 seconds. You can see here that he's now within sight, but then all of a sudden he just keeps pressing on down here, and the gap gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So is Valgren going to do it? Is he going to take victory? Because now we've done 2 climbs. We've got 1 climb to go. Greg Van Avermaet off the back just a little bit. He's having to press on here, look. You don't want to get dropped and left behind. Because again, before you know it, in Zwift, poof, gaps open up and before you know it, you're out the bloody back. But no danger for our Greggy boy here. He's back at the front. Back at the front of the group, easing up now, trying to get that heart rate lower for this last final climb. Lawson Craddock way back now, 30 seconds. Valgren, 8 seconds up the road. It's going to be tight. It's going to be close around this final right-hander, and that's pretty much it now. It's all the way a massive, long drag to the line. Are they going to catch him? So Valgren, 6 watts a kilo. Van Avermaet, 5 watts a kilo now, 4 watts a kilo. I just achieved a route completion. Fair play to me. Fair bloody play. So here we go. It's the final climb. Boys have got new power-ups. Who's going to do what? I don't know. We're going to find out soon, though. Obviously, one rider that's not going to do anything is probably this rider here. He's in the best position. He doesn't need to do anything. His teammates up the road. Just let him go and win, mate. Just easy all the way to the line. That's Gurgle. But no, Gurgle chases him down. Of course he does. Go on, Gurgs. Chase him down. So you've got Greg right at the back here now. You got Van der Poel just at the front. And now Gurgle's going back. So Gurgle injected some pace into it. Oh, it seemed that Van der Poel had a bit of an issue there. He injected a bit of pace into it, and now he's gone back. Schulze now on the offensive, pushing out 6-7 watts a kilo. He's going to try and chase that down. Van Avermaet, not really trying to chase it down. He's just gone off the back just a little bit, but now he's coming through and pushing almost 500 watts. As I say, there you go, 500 watts there. And now he's hit a. Let's just pause that there. This man here has hit this power up here, which is the draft boost. This power up here is only useful when you are sat behind people. It reduces the percentage of draft. It increases the percentage of draft, so reduces the amount of effort that you have to put in. Once you're out of draft, it's useless. It's bloody useless. So if we just he knows he's got that. It's not like he's just been surprised with it, right? So why don't we take that back to that moment when I said, oh, he's after back here. Remember that? A few seconds ago. Let's take it back to this point here. Right. Greg Van Avermaet, he's got a tranny van. Why don't he just ease up just a tiny bit? Just a tiny bit. Create that gap that he can rush into and get the best and most use out of that tranny van. But he doesn't. He sits in the group, 4th wheel, and then he attacks and he gets about a second worth of that power up. Why didn't he attack? Hold on to the power up. Wait till he's within a second or two of Valgren here. Then hit it. Get a bit of a boost past him and then sprint for the line. But this is the final ascent. This is the final run into the line. You can see Valgren's dying 1,000 deaths here. Greg Van Avermaet looks like he's going to take the victory, but no. Gurgle hits his feather, similar to Greg Van Avermaet did very early, but he's still going to get a bit of a benefit out of it to that sprint. What have we got behind? Mathieu van der Poel, 9 watts a kilo. Greg's opened his sprint now, 200 metres to go. He's starting to close up a little bit on Gurgle, but I think Gurgle just got it. I think, he didn't play that. He didn't play that tranny van to the best of his abilities and his advantage. Just beat Van der Poel in the final sprint there, and then the rest of the world is shown there are other people riding in Richmond today. So there you go. That was Greg Van Avermaet's race. I would give him a solid 7 out of 10 for that effort. He made it to the front group. A couple of times he used his power-ups to good use and put them to good use. But that final transit van, I know it's not the best power-up to use. However, there are better places to have used it, and there are better ways to have used it. It essentially became pointless. One, he pressed it, and that let everyone know that he was going to have some sort of an advantage. They were ready to respond to that. Then he attacked. Whereas if he'd just gone off the back a little bit, then hit it behind them, then come through and gone, bye, boys, and just smashed it all the way to the top, he'd have probably had more of an advantage of that power up at the back Then when he caught Valgren, he would have had a bit more of that draft boost to benefit from him. Then he could have gone over the top and sprinted to victory. But no, it was Gurgle who took the victory. So there you go. Make sure, if you've not done already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you enjoy these videos. Bit different one today, and we'll try and get another one before the end of the Tour for All soon. Thanks for watching.